What's up guys, and welcome to what is a brand new video on the channel. And here we are again. It's the end of July. I walk along the beautifulness that is Plymouth Barbican, and then we'll be going across the Hoe for another coastal walk around the greatest city in the country. It's that time of the year again. It is the start of the 2025-26 predictions, and we're going to kick it off with probably the league I have the least knowledge on. Thought it'd be fair. I mean, it starts on Saturday, so this is why I had to do this one this week. It's League 2. I'm going to divide it all into categories. So we've got the bottom two who are going down. Then the next category from about 22nd to about 18th is what I call relegation battling. Then we'll have lower mid-table, upper mid-table, playoff chasing, the playoffs themselves from 7th to 4th, and then we end up with the top three. So we go from there really. And that will decide it for my predictions for League 2 this season. And go from there really. So yeah, let's just get on with it then, shall we? Welcome back to another video on the channel. It's time to reveal where I think each club will finish this season in the 4th tier. So, in 24th place, might be a bit of a surprise to some of you, but I'm going to go with it, especially after what I saw last season with the torridness that was Carlisle's League 2 season after going back down from League 1. But in bottom, I've got a team who has just come down from League 1. For a second season running, I think this will happen. Well, it will happen in my opinion. It didn't. I didn't predict it last season, but this season, I think that trend will continue. In 24th place, I have gone with Shrewsbury, which might surprise you away because they have made some signings. Will Doyle from Wrexham is a start, one of their arch rivals, so I will give them that. But they're a mess, to put it bluntly. They're an absolute mess. They're not like Morecambe or Sheffield Wednesday, where they were in more of a mess. Obviously, they're nowhere near in the mess of those two, of course. But the club has been run so bad. The owners won't even negotiate or even talk to the fans on what they should do. There's a tense, toxic, terrible relationship between the board and the fans. And I don't rate the appointment of Michael Appleton. I really don't. I really don't. I think they're in for another turmoil season here, Salop, and I honestly could see them relegated down to the National League and potentially play my non-league club Truro. I do think they're going to struggle big time. I really do. Despite some of the signings, which does look a little promising, like Will Doyle, like I said, from Wrexham. They've signed Sam Stubbs from Cheltenham alongside that as well. The board are failing to negotiate and even talk to the fan base. It's got that toxic there. Tensions I really think could rise high this season. What I've also noticed the last 2 seasons is a continuing trend of being relegated from League 1, you then get relegated the following season. Forest Green did it in 23-24, Carlisle did it last season, and I think Shrewsbury are run so much worse than Carlisle, despite Carlisle's relegation to the 5th tier. I really think they'll go down. I really think they will come last. I hope I'm wrong because I really like Shrewsbury. It's a brilliant away day. If ARGYLE don't go up from League 1, then I would love to see them bounce back. I can't lie, because it's a great away day, Shrewsbury, but they're really in the crap, in my opinion. They're really in the crap, honestly. They're my 24th. I'm going Shrewsbury, back-to-back relegations. To add on to that, I think the fan base are really worried for this season. They're worried they're going to end up going the wrong way of League 2, and that is finishing lower than what you'd expect from a relegated League 1 club by aiming for promotion straight away. I really think they're ran so bad. And it's disappointing for Shrewsbury because they've been in League 1 for 10 years. They got close to the Championship in 2017-18, but now I just feel the way they're going is downwards. I really feel bad for them. I really do. And they're bottom of the league for me this season. I do think Shrewsbury will go down to the National League in 24th. Okay, in 23rd, I have gone with Cheltenham, another former League One club, even though they got relegated the season prior. I think this will be the season they drop to English football's 5th tier for the first time since the middle of the 2010s. And it would be really sad because they've just re-signed former ARGYLE player Ryan Broom, who's just spent the last 2 seasons with Fleetwood. But I have not rated Cheltenham's transfer window at all. Of course, last season they finished in the lower part of mid-table. But I feel the only way forward for Cheltenham at the moment is going backwards. And by going backwards, I do think they're going to get relegated to the National League for next season. I have not rated their transfer window or recruitment at all. Ironically, their star player, Sam Stubbs, has gone to Shrewsbury, the other team who I've got relegated. But their other star player, Jordan Thomas, is set to follow from what I've heard. And I think that could be pivotal towards the Robins this season. I know they've got a new incoming owner, which is Mike Garlick, who should implement change. But I don't think the change will be that enough to rescue their season, and business has been incredibly slow. They're my dark horses to get relegated this season, and that means I've got the 2 favourites of the drop to survive. Cheltenham to get relegated in 23rd. One of those favourites is a team who merely survived last season in League 2, and again another former League 1 club when ARGYLE were there. They got relegated from League 1 the year we got promoted to the Championship. I have got Accrington Stanley to finish 22nd to merely survive by the tiniest of margins. They're the favourites to go down this season, and in a way I am not surprised. I just haven't rated Cheltenham's recruitment and business being really slow, and Shrewsbury I think are an absolute mess, and I think those 2 main factors are going to be the reason why Aki stay up for yet another season. But I do think they're going to be down there for most of the season, and they are one of League 2's lower budgets as well, so it's not surprising I've got them in 22nd as a result of that. But I feel like Aki are on a slow decline, a bit like what Burton are in League 1 at the moment, so I think Aki's relegation to the National League might be the following season or the season after. We will see. But as for this season, I think they'll just survive by the tiniest of margins. 22nd for Accrington Stanley. Okay, in 21st is a team that I think will drop off this season and be in the mix for relegation. I have got Barrow to come in 21st place. 2 of their big main players have left the club. Dean Campbell has gone to Northampton. Robbie Gotts has gone to Donny. So both League 1 aspirations for both of those players. Kean Spence has gone to Rotherham. There's been a few exits from Barrow, from the southern part of the Lake District, and I think that could be pivotal going into their season as well. Again, with my reasons for Shrewsbury and Cheltenham, Barrow will survive by the tiniest of margins in my honest opinion, but I do think they will struggle big time this season. I feel like it will only get worse for Barrow. It much depends on whether newbies Rakeem Harper, Jack Earing and Scott Smith are on the same level as the departed trio. So this will be interesting to play out for the Southern Cumbria side. I think they'll find it hard this season and turbulent on where their goals are going to come from. I've got Barrow in 21st. Okay, in 20th, another one that I think will survive by the skin of their teeth, and I think this is a bold shout here as they are one of the favourites to drop this season. I have got Newport. They're almost underpredicted every single season, which I can understand why, because they are gradually getting worse and worse. And this season will be very interesting for them because their shot stopper Nick Chadwick has departed them to join non-league club Eastleigh. So that's another goalkeeper that Truro's got to face this season. But again, given my reasons for Cheltenham and Shrewsbury, I think Newport will survive by the skin of their teeth. And similar to Accrington Stanley, I think basically, how do I word it? They will gradually join the National League. Just don't know when that will come. It will happen due course, I feel. However, I feel like preparation has been better for Newport for this season. That's also the main reason why I've got them to stay up as well. But one injury to one of their key players, such as Baker or such as Baker or Camworth. If one of those two get injured, it really could be fatal for them. But I've got the Exiles to stay up. I think they're better prepared this year. I've got Newport in 20th. In 19th, I have got Harrogate, one of the most under-predicted clubs in the entire EFL. I feel so sorry for their fan base that they almost have to endure this every single season. I mean, I will admit, a few seasons ago, I thought they were going to drop. This time, I don't. Again, I tell you what though, they remind me of Stevenage in League One. Harrogate are doing really well with their club size to make them an established League Two side. And I feel like this season they really could do that again. So that's also why I've got them to survive as well. Their three main players, Ellis-Taylor, O'Connor and Belshaw, they've kept all of them. And that was a vital moment from last season on why Harrogate stayed up in League Two. And they are in League Two for securing a 7th consecutive season in the EFL in the 4th tier. I don't see why not they can do it again. And they're so underpredicted. I've got Harrogate in 19th. And then in 18th, finishing off the relegation battle for League Two this season, I have got the League Two Scousers, Tranmere Rovers. Obviously, last season for Tranmere was absolutely horrendous. They so nearly went down. But due to Morecambe's struggles and Carlisle's absolute implosion, Tranmere survived as a result of that. And they will want to make sure they forget that going into this season. I think they'll do better this season with Andy Crosby at the helm. A takeover is imminent at Tranmere as well. And also Richard Smallwood from Bradford, I think, is a fantastic signing for the Lily Whites from Merseyside. And that it will be a key factor to why I think Tranmere are staying up this season and do better than the horrendousness that they suffered last season, of course. Smallwood helped Bradford to go back to League One for the first time since 2018-19. I think Tranmere have got a very good player there up their sleeves. I've got Tranmere to finish 18th. In 17th, I have gone with Crewe. They're a bit like Lincoln in League One. They're really hard to predict, in my opinion. One season, they will be in the playoffs or challenge from the playoffs. The next season, they will severely underperform. This season, I don't think will be any different to what they endured last season. They'll be just below mid-table, in my honest opinion, Crewe. I don't think they've done enough yet to challenge for this season. I could be heavily wrong, but I don't think this season will be their season to challenge for League One just yet. Basically, another lower mid-table mediocrity for the Railwaymen. That promising playoff season they had has been destroyed by what has been changing room messes and also dressing room challenges, as I should say. If their manager Bell sorts that out, this might be a bit different for Crewe, but I don't see much improving from them for this season. But I think they will be well clear of what I think is going to be the relegation battle from 18th downwards. So yeah, I have got Crewe to come 17th. Okay, in 16th, I have got Oldham, newly promoted from the National League, their first season back in League Two since 21-22, when they had that disastrous season going down with Scunthorpe. And after all those dross years in the National League, the Latics are back, one of the biggest clubs in League Two this season. Very underrated club size they are, Oldham, and they are back in England's 4th tier. The feel-good factor is back for their owner, Rothwell. To be fair, they were hit and miss in the National League, but I feel like because they have had less preparation and that they won that playoff final over Southend, I feel like mid-table is going to be the aim for the Latics this season, as well as surviving, of course, but I feel like they could push on and do that. I've also gone through the factor where the last few seasons, both National League clubs have been promoted. They have both stayed up brilliantly and go on to have brilliant seasons as EFL established sides. I can see the same case happening there for Oldham. Oldham are back in League Two, and I've got them to be back in League Two by finishing 16th. In 15th, I have got the second of the relegated League One clubs. I have gone with Crawley to come 15th. This prediction might come back to bite me because I do rate Scott Lindsay as a manager, and he did everything he could last season to keep Crawley up in League One in their first season back. Ultimately, it did fail because of, first of all, despite their late run of form, Burton's late run of form was better. That's what kept the Brewers up instead of Crawley. Crawley went down, of course, but they've lost so many key players this window. Panucci Kamara's gone to Dundee United, former Jana. Bradley Ibrahim, I know he was on loan from Hertha Berlin, but still a key player. He's just gone to join us, of course. Will Swan's gone to Bradford. They have lost a lot in their team this window, Crawley. And I do think they'll underperform as a result of that. I haven't been a huge fan of their incomings either. I do think this season could be a reality check for Crawley. But no fears of being relegated at all. Again, like what I have with Shrewsbury. However, I cannot see them pushing for playoffs at all this season. Had they kept all those players, I would have been a different man for predicting them. But Crawley, for me, will do the second worst of the relegated League One clubs. I have got Crawley to come bottom half in 15th. Harry McCurdy's a brilliant recruit, in my opinion, but they're another club who I see have tensions with their owners, and I feel that could implode on Crawley at the same time. Hence why I've got the mid-table in the first place. And to be brutally honest, I think the other 14 teams will do better. I've got Crawley to come 15th. Okay, in 14th, this might surprise you, considering last season, of course, they were in the playoffs, but this season I think they're going to drop off big time, and I haven't rated their recruitment either. I have got Walsall to come mid-table in 14th. Last season's complete bottlers of League Two. They had a 15-14 point lead in January and then imploded and then lost the playoff final as a result of that afterwards. It's put huge pressure on their current coach, Matt Sadler, and I feel like their opening 10 games of the season will decide not just on Walsall's season, whether they're going upwards from last season or downwards from last season, but also I think it could cost Matt Sadler his job. And I don't rate him at all. They have a slow start. He's sacked, in my opinion. In fact, he could be my first managerial casualty of League Two this season, Matt Sadler. I don't rate him at all. It's been a terrible summer for them, in my opinion. They've lost so many players that have all gone to Aspire to challenge themselves in League One. Taylor Allen to Wickham. David Okagbu to Peterborough. Liam Gordon to Port Vale. Tommy Simking, who they had last season, has gone to Leyton Orient on loan this season. And Ryan Stirk has gone to pursue a career by joining Paul Cook at Chesterfield. Genuinely, I think it's been a mess of a transfer window for Walsall, and I don't rate Matt Sadler in the slightest. So, yeah, they're going to be bottom half for me this season. I've got Walsall to come 14th. And then in 13th, propping up the bottom half of the table. This was really hard to call, by the way. I really didn't know who to go with here. And this might be a bit controversial and one I might regret come May. I can't lie. But I have gone with Grimsby to come 13th, which might be controversial because I know their fan base are actually quite encouraged with the recent signs they have seen the last few years being back in League Two. And also, if they can keep persistently playing like they are, they could even do better. Their head of recruitment, Joe Hutchinson, he has left the club, so that could play crucial to the Marinas' chances this season. But there are some encouraging signs. So yeah, like I said, this could be a prediction that really does nail to bite me. Having said that, this could be a possible finish if Grimsby's summer isn't as productive as last season's. But I wouldn't be surprised if they finish higher, because part of me does think this is a club that is going to be on the rise. But it will be interesting to see. This was a really hard one to call, from 13th all the way up to around 9th, 10th. I think it could be any order. But I'm going to stick my neck out here. I've got Grimsby to come 13th. Also, can striker Rose persistently pest other clubs at 31 years of age? time will tell, but age, in my opinion, really doesn't matter in football, especially in the EFL when you've got David McGoldrick at Barnsley. So I'd say the answer to that is yes. One of their new signings, by the way, is Jace Cabia from my non-league club, Truro. So this season in League 2, I'm going to keep a close eye on how he can perform in the northeast of Lincolnshire after moving from my motherland, Cornwall. So yeah, I'm going to go with them 13th. Now we go on to the top half. Okay, kicking off the top half of the table. In 12th, I have got Bromley. For me, they are ran absolutely brilliantly, and the season that Cheek produced last season for the Ravens was just shown why it was arguably the best season in the South Londoners club's entire history. They had a perfect first season, also getting that cup draw against Newcastle as well. That is huge for Bromley, absolutely huge. My only downside with the Ravens is that they could be very reliant on the loan market for this season as they compete with other bigger clubs and bigger powers around them. But Mitchell Pinnock's arrival to Bromley has shown the geographical location that the South Londoners possess, and also it's pulled them some power as well. Their star loanee Imre though has gone, and obviously there is that worry of second season syndrome as a result for that, but I trust Bromley to do it again. They're so well ran. I rate the manager Andy Woodman. I definitely see them in League 2 for another season running, and they look very happy and comfortable there. I've got Bromley to come 12th. In 11th, I have Fleetwood. Mid-table mediocrity for the fish, in my opinion, for the Cods. Obviously, last season it took them time to basically adjust to life back in League 2 after 10 years in the third tier, and what they got was mid-table mediocrity, and now they feel like they just want to compete again. They have had some high-profile departures though, as I mentioned earlier with Ryan Broom going to Cheltenham, of course, but regardless, I don't see that club anywhere near the bottom half, hence why I've got them 11th as a result of that as well. And they've lost their best player, Brendan Weirdo, who has gone to us, of course. But James Norwood is a great signing from Oldham, former League 1 player, of course, when he was with Barnsley. Brilliant signing for this level, in my opinion, from Fleetwood. They've kept hold of Matty Virtue as well, and all them playing together with Danny Mayer, top half for me. But I don't think they've done enough to challenge for the playoffs, in my honest opinion. I've got Fleetwood to come 11th with mid-table mediocrity. In 10th, I've got Barnet, the other newly promoted club from the National League. Barnet are back where they feel they belong, in the 4th tier. Dean Brennan's Barnet, dynamic at the back, stunning at the front, and their team aren't that bad either. They play an aggressive 3-4-2-1. There's no reason why they can't finish in top half this season. And this season, with the massive togetherness that club has now finally had, I feel like they can well and truly go and do that, especially with the National League's recencies of clubs getting promoted and they have brilliant seasons. Barnet, I feel, will be another one of those, and they were Centurions last season. I think they're going to come into this season back in League 2 with full of confidence. Brilliant news for them that they are back. I've got Barnet to come 10th. Like every National League club though, they will have their moments though. So it'll be interesting to see how it pans out, but I'm confident for them. A real togetherness in the team. I don't see why not they can't be top half. And they are Centurions going into this. Barnet 10th for me. In 9th place, just missing out on the playoffs, and this might surprise a lot of people, but I am with Callum Fowler on this one. I have got Notts County to come 9th. A lot of uncertainties, a lot of unbalance in the team and club at the moment. It all tailed off from last season when they got playoffs. A lot of people thought they'd win the playoffs and bottled it big time in the playoffs. But they aren't bottlers like Walsall are. A managerial change for them as well in Martin Patterson, who comes in, and I feel like with the top 8 that I've got, it will take them time to adapt to challenging for that promotion battle for this season. Hence why I've got Notts County where they are, and I think they will miss the playoffs as a result of that as well. Alex Bass has gone to Peterborough. A lot of high-profile departures as well. Alex Bass has gone to Peterborough. David McGoldrick's gone to Barnsley. And we thought he'd stay at Notts County. It's literally his boyhood club. But no. I think they're in for a very uncertain season here, Notts County. A lot of unknowns. And as a result of that, I think they're going to miss the playoffs. I've got the Magpies to finish in 9th. The Nottingham Magpies, Notts County, in 9th position. And then in 8th place, just missing out on the playoffs. This might surprise a few people, especially since he's got them promoted to League One before. But I have gone with the 3rd of the relegated League One clubs. I have gone with Bristol Rovers to come in 8th. Might surprise a few people because Darryl Clark has experience in this league. He's got the gas up before, as we all know. So this could be in as a bit of a surprise here for a prediction. But my reasoning being, with what I saw from League One as well when they went down, there is a lot of relationships that are starting to get broken between the board and the fans. And I think that could capitulate the gas into this season, regardless of Darryl Clark's experience of promotion to League One. They are a favourite as a result of that, but again, I think there's tensions between the board and the fans, and I feel like that could continue into this season, and hence why I've got Bristol Rovers to miss out on the top 7 as a result of that as well. So therefore, I have got them to finish 8th. The other 7 teams I do think will do better than the Gas this season as a result of that as well. They know how to get out of this league straight away as well. Hence why I'm not surprised they're one of the favourites. But yeah. Luke Southwood joins from Bolton. Jack Sparks, a scummer who has played for Exeter, Portsmouth and Torquay, an Argyle fan's worst nightmare, has joined Bristol Rovers this season to add on to the nightmare for many Argyle fans like myself. Has joined Rovers. And also, can Isaac Hutchinson rekindle his form that he showed at Walsall last season? Possibly, especially that he's in League 2 for another season as well. But I think there is a lot of tension between the board and the fans, and that could continue going into this season after how toxic it really got for the Gas last season when they got relegated to this tier again. I've got Bristol Rovers to come 8th. Right, moving on to the playoffs themselves. In 7th, just sneaking into the playoffs, I have Gillingham, which I'm actually surprised I've got them to come 7th because, in my opinion, they are the Middlesbrough of League 2. The most over-predicted club in the league, in my opinion. Well, it was Bradford until Bradford got promoted last season. This time, it's Gillingham. But my reason being I've got them in the playoffs in 7th is, just simply put, it's Gareth Ainsworth. It's Gareth Ainsworth, who I've now a first full season from at Gillingham after joining from Shrewsbury. We know how sneaky he is getting into playoffs in lower leagues like League 2 and League 1. So I feel, knowing Gareth Ainsworth, he can do that again. They've signed Sam Vokes. Again, that is such a Gareth Ainsworth screaming signing. So I was a bit wary on where I was going to put Gillingham this season because they are so over-predicted every season by so many people and they end up flopping. This season, can they turn around what was a blip from October to March? They were fighting for promotion before October, and then by March they were fearing for relegation. An end-of-season form kept them up at the end. But they've got to do better if they want to be back in League 1. I've got them 7th. Again, I feel like I'm over-predicting them again by accident, but I'm not going to over-predict them like putting them top 3. But it is Gareth Ainsworth. We know how sneaky he is. It's Sam Vokes. He's such a Gareth Ainsworth signing. He had him at Wickham. We know how sneaky he is, sneaking into those playoffs. And I've got Gillingham pipping Bristol Rovers as a result of that as well. I've got the Gills to come 7th. Okay, in 6th place, I've gone with Colchester. I feel like this season is going to be their most united in years, especially when last season's signs under Danny Cowley was really encouraging. I feel like that could build going into this season as well. Jack Payne, I thought, was one of League Two's star players last season, which I could see again going into this season. They've kept hold of him really well. If they can keep him and they can keep a playoff winner in Lyle Taylor, and dare I say it, Matt Macy, of all people, in goal, they could really be in for a shout for a good season this season. And I feel like last season was their best in years. Dare I say a dad joke here, but the only way really up is Essex, isn't it? The only way in Essex is up, isn't it? I've got Colchester as my playoff winners this season. I'm not going to say why I've got them as my playoff winners, because playoffs is such a lottery, especially in League Two. But I feel like this is their best chance this season to return to the 3rd tier for the first time in years. And I feel like Danny Cowley has built the united qualities and foundations going into the club as he prepares for a full season with the Essex club going into it. And I think there's a lot of hope going into Colchester this season. I feel like this is the most united that the club is going to be since leaving Layer Road. Galvanising qualities, searing pace, solid foundations, and a star player in Jack Payne. They're really ones to watch for me this season. I've got Colchester to come 6th, and they're my playoff winners this season. In 5th, I have got the team who I think will do best out of the relegated League One clubs. I've got Cambridge. I mean, I'm sorry, their manager is Neil Harris. That tells you everything you need to know. I'm still surprised he axed Millwall. I rate him that highly. I thought he was brilliant in the Championship with Millwall. I think Cambridge were unlucky to go down with him at the helm, despite the dreadful season they had last season when they had Gary Monk before Neil Harris. No wonder they're my favourites of the relegated League One clubs this season. And I'm not surprised some people have got them to go back up as a result of this as well. And despite the reliable sides of the club on both on and off the pitch, I do think they do lack some areas in their squad depth for quality, which I think might cost them for a top 3 finish. And the top 3 I think will be fantastic this season. That's why Cambridge misses out on autos as a result for me on that perspective. But I cannot deny how much of a fantastic manager Neil Harris is. They'll be up there. They'll be up there this season. I won't be surprised at all if they do get top 3, to be fair. But the 4 teams I have ahead of them, I do think will do better. I've got Cambridge in 5th as a result of that. To be fair, their director of football is their former manager, Mark Bonner, and he knows the club so well. That could provide a huge strength towards Cambridge's promotion bid in a way, because he knows how to do it, and he could guide who I think is a championship proven manager in Neil Harris as a result of that. Okay, and then we go on to 4th place, who are just going to miss out on automatics in my opinion. That's going to be painful for them considering they just missed out on the playoffs last season. But I'm going to back them to get playoffs at least this time round, because they've got a League One proven quality manager in Carl Robinson. They've got players who have played in League One, such as Luke Garbett with Blackpool and Cole Stockton with Morecambe. I think they can go one better and get playoffs this time. I've got Salford to come in 4th. The other 3 teams, though, that I've got in the top 3, I think will be automatics. I think they will be the 3 best teams in the league this season. But Carl Robinson's streaky array of mercurial technicians, need more reliable performance to stop the slumps after missing out on the playoffs by a point. If fresh investment is used wisely, top 7 is attainable. And I can see them doing it, I'll be brutally honest. Again, he knows League One, Carl Robertson. I wouldn't be surprised if they go up, to be honest. I think there's a feel-good factor with the club, despite them narrowly missing out on the playoffs last season. I do see them challenging, I can't lie. I've got Salford to come 4th. And coincidentally, I have got them to lose that playoff final to Colchester. But I won't be surprised if they do go up this season. I can see them doing better. In 3rd, I have got Chesterfield, who I think will do one better this time and get promoted back to League One and join their minor strike derby rivals Mansfield for 2026-27. Their manager knows promotion to League One inside out, Paul Cook. Obviously, he did it with Pompey in 2016-17. They beat us, for crying out loud. It did my absolute head in when they did that. But the Spirits were very injury-ridden last season, and I think if it wasn't for that, not to come up with excuses or anything, but I think if it wasn't for that, I think they would have been well in contention with battling Doncaster, Port Vale and Bradford right at the top. So I do see them going one better. They're another club who I think are on the rise as well. I mean, they got freaking John Fleck, a former Premier League player for Sheffield United, in League 2. That's ridiculous in my opinion. If Chesterfield can be injury-free this season, I have no worries that they will be back in League One for next season, especially when you've got a promotion specialist from League 2 like Paul Cook. Under promotion specialist Cook, the Spirits face the fewest. They face the fewest question marks as a result of that as well. The only downer I have for them is that they've lost their defensive midfielder Darren Oldacre to Swindon. But the signing of Ryan Stirk, first of all, followed by Markande's return to the club, they should be even stronger. I've got Chesterfield to come 3rd. In 2nd, runners-up, I've gone with Swindon. Ian Holloway's Robins. A West Country boy himself, so he will know the region very well, of course. Swindon were one of League Two's most informed teams since Christmas, and the disastrous start they had got rescued by their outstanding second half of the season. Finished mid-table as a result of that. This season, I think they could do even better. I'll be brutally honest. It's a bit controversial though, because it might not go that simple due to Swindon's fans' toxic relationship with their current owner, Clem Morfuni, and of course, there were protests and everything at the start of last season. A lot of people thought Swindon would go down to the National League. But part of me feels that the arrival of Ian Holloway has sorted all those problems out. Despite not being one of the better run clubs in League 2, I feel Holloway's appointment has sorted all that out. He knows the West Country inside out, as he is a Bristol man himself, of course. So it's so easy for him to know the area well and all that. But not just that. A few of Swindon's players have been in League One before. Connor Ripley, their goalkeeper. Daniel Butterworth they've got. Billy Boding, I think, is a fantastic signing, who they've just signed from one of their biggest rivals, Reading. He's a former Oxford man as well. So Oxford and Reading fans will probably now see him as a Judas. He was at Burton last season as well. Swindon have snatched his signature this season round. And I feel Holloway's really going to be up for it this season. I feel like this is their best chance to return to League One for the first time since they got relegated in 2020-21. A bit of a controversial one, because I know they don't like their owner that much, but Swindon are going up for me. They really are. I've been very impressed with them. I can see it continuing going into this season. Swindon to come 2nd. And that leaves me with my 1st place. And in 1st and champions of 2025-26 League 2, I have got MK Dons. Boring, I know, because they are the clear favourites for this season, but my reasons being simple. Paul Warne, Callum Patterson, Nathaniel Mendes-Lang, Aaron Collins. Need I say any more? Biggest budget in the league by a mile. this season. I'll be shocked if they don't win it this season. So that wraps it up then, guys. That wraps it up. That is my 2025-26 League 2 predictions. That wraps it all up, really. MK for me are going to win the league this season, and they will return to League 1 for 2026-27. So thank you for watching, guys. Thank you for watching Up the Janners, Up the Argyle, Up the Greens, Up the Pilgrims, Up the Plymouth. Come on, you boys in green. Green Army. See you all in the next one. Have a good one, guys. And see ya.
When they pull on the green, they're all Janners.